Family, I want you to please come join me. Find a seat wherever if you haven't found a seat yet. Please, I want you to have pen and pad. We are going to make history this evening. We're going to make history. First, before we get started, I want to check on y'all to make sure how y'all doing out there. I know the world is everywhere, but I want to make sure y'all are good. Y'all are my family. I'm going to break this down in just a few. So I just want to check on my family, and I thank y'all for watching. Welcome, once again, to Cosmic Christ University, the home of the esoteric and metaphysical knowledge. You see the title. You see the title, family. Let's make this clear. As of now, we have 573 masters and students in the Cosmic Christ University. For those who subscribe, you are automatically initiates, adepts, neophytes. The information that you're going to get this evening, you have never even heard of. You have never heard of this information. And even if you heard a little bit, you haven't heard it before in its purest form like this. You are now initiates of secret knowledge after this. This is very serious information because what we're going to do this evening, we have the power to end racism in one video. If we choose to as people, as God's people, we have the power to end racism in this video. Or in this same video, we have the power to start a whole racial war and take it back to 4,000 years ago. This is all on you. This is going to be a heavy presentation. For those who've seen chapter 1, this is my gift to you. For those who watched chapter 1 on the 4 races, the origin of the 4 races, this is my gift to you. If we want to figure out why is racism, why the white versus black, why is this so intensified, right? Why is racism so rapid in this country? If you haven't watched chapter 1, I advise it. I'm going to give a quick recap, but not that long of a recap. Once again, and I thank you for watching, this is going to be a history in the making presentation. This evening, family, and I thank you for watching. We can either end racism in this video because of the information we have. And if you watch chapter 1, then we're bringing it together on chapter 2. By the time this one ends, you're going to be begging for chapter 3. It's just is what it is. We can end racism right here. Or we can bring smoke on smoke, just like we did 4,000 years ago. Once again, welcome to Cosmic Christ University. You see the title. The origin of the 4 races, written in black and white. I want to thank you for your patience. I'm going to get me some water. If you watched chapter 1, we talked about the 4 races. Black, white, yellow, red. You found out that the white race was the last race. You also figured out that the white race in the beginning were to themselves, adapting, leaving the savage life, going into this intellectual. And within them, their intuition, through visions, through their own divine feminine energy, they became opposition with the black race. And so began the racial journey, and it goes heavier than that. You need to watch chapter 1 because I want to go right straight into chapter 2. So if you haven't watched chapter 1, then make sure you do that. You're going to love this one as well. But for the ones who did watch chapter 1, this is for you. This is going to be a very popular presentation, there's no doubt, because once again, we have been wondering They told us what they wanted to tell us about the origins of racism. Nobody's fully answered the question, why do whites feel the way they feel about races? Why do blacks feel the way about their own self? Why does the one race have this like warlike mentality? Why do one race has this like peace, universal God mentality? You're going to learn a lot of that today. So once again, before I go in, and we're about to go in right now, thank you for your patience. This is up to you now. As a divine cosmic Christ being, we're in this Christ consciousness now. We are all one family. So family, tonight, as I read this to you, we have a chance to end racism right here in this video, because you're going to get a clear understanding about why the white race acts the way the white race acts, why the black race acts the way they act, and as we go into the chapters, why all the races act the way they act, not just that, but their origins. So I thank you so much for your patience. We're probably going to go about 45, 50 on this one, maybe less. So once again, are we going to end racism? Or are we going to start a war all over again? Leave a comment once again if you want this book. I got you. Let's go. It was well known that in prehistoric times, writing was unknown to the masses of the people. This knowledge became spread among them only through phonetic writing, or the art of shaping by means of letters the very sounds of the words. Hieroglyphic writing, however, or the art of representing things by any signs whatever, is as old as human civilization. In these primitive times, it was always the privilege of the priesthood, for it was regarded as something sacred, a religion function, and originally as a divine inspiration. Now, I want you to look up the phonetic writings. That is spelled Phonetic. Once you look this up on Google or wherever you go to, you will see this is how our ancestors start using letters. And these letters represented sounds. So we are now seeing the origins of how we even became using letters. I'm going to read this again. And once again, family, I'm about to go in. I thank you for your patience. It's going to be a life-changing presentation. Once again, it is well known that in prehistoric times, writings were unknown to the masses of the people. Through phonetic, and that's Phonetic, through phonetic writings, or the art of shaping by means of letter the very sounds of the words. Hieroglyphic writing, however, or the art of representing things by any signs whatever, is as old as human civilization. In these primitive times, it was always the privilege of the priesthood, for it was regarded as something sacred, a religious function, and originally as a divine inspiration. Let's go in. When in the southern hemisphere, the priests of the black or southern race traded their mysterious signs on skins of beasts or tables of stones, they were in the habit of turning towards the South Pole. The hand went in the direction of the east, the source of the light. Accordingly, they wrote from the right to the left. The priests of the white or north race learned writing from the black priests and began by writing like them. But when they had developed in them the sentiment of their origin along with national consciousness and racial pride, they invented signs of their own, and instead of turning to the South, the country of the blacks, they faced the North, the country of their ancestors. Let's stop here. Because I told you, family, I am not here to play. I'm your brother, a cosmic Christ consciousness being, multidimensional. Christ told you of his return. Some of you just didn't realize that return was going to be within all of us, activating in different times. This is chapter 2 of the origins of the four races: the black race, the white race, the yellow race, and the red race. If you haven't watched chapter 1, I urge you to do that ASAP. I'm going to repeat what I just said. And once again, we can either end racism tonight, or if you are in your feelings family, we can start something that was last finished in 4,000 years ago. It's all on you. We are all children, sons and daughters of the divine, the one source, the absolute, the first cause, which is God, the creator. This information for the ones who subscribe, truly locked in, this is yours to have. You now have an origin story, no matter what color you are. Hate for what? Bias for what? Prejudice for what? Racism for what? We are one people. The mainstream may not want you to know this information, but now you have it. I'm not going to hold time. Let's get right back in. When in the Southern Hemisphere, the priests of the black or Southern race traced their mysterious signs on skins of beasts or tables of stones, they were in the habit of turning towards the South Pole. The hand went in the direction of the east, the source of light. Accordingly, they wrote from right to left. We are talking about the black race. Now listen, the priest of the white or north race learned writing from the black priest. Let's repeat that again. Let's make sure that we are clear, family, no matter what color you are. Listen, the priest of the white or north race learned writing from the black priest and began by writing like them. But there is a big but that is about to come. Listen up. There is a big but. But when they had developed in them, we're talking about the white race. But when there had developed in them the sentiment of their origin, along with national consciousness and racial pride, they invented signs of their own, and instead of turning to the South, the country of the blacks, they faced the North, the country of their ancestors, continuing to write on the direction of the East. I told you what we can do in two options. To the white family, I see a lot of my white brothers that have the Vikings hairstyles, and you see some of our white brothers who have the blonde with the locks. This is you going back into your primitive consciousness. Some of you, this is just a natural thing for you. Now you have an origin to your background, especially if you read chapter 1 and when they talked about the blonde locks that y'all used to have back in the day. Watch chapter 1 if you haven't. Let's keep on going. I thank you for your patience. Accordingly, their characters, we're talking about the white race, accordingly, their characters ran from left to right. Hence the direction of the Celtics, the runes, R-U-N-E-S, of Zend, Z-E-N-D, Sanskrit, Greek, Latin, and all writings of the Aryan race. I said this in chapter 1. If you have ever seen or heard about the Nazis or the Ku Klux Klan, the Great White Brotherhood, I'm not talking about the spiritual one because that's the original one. But when it comes to white supremacists and you hear them talking about Aryan, this is because they know to a certain degree their origins of Aryan race, their connection to their distant cousins, the Asians. Once again, if you haven't watched chapter 1, then you know what to do. Once again, let's read that again. Accordingly, their characters ran from left to right. Hence, the direction of the Celtic runes, R-U-N-E-S. You should spell that or write that down, R-U-N-E-S, of Zend, Sanskrit, Greek, Latin, and all the writings of the Aryan race. They run in the direction of the sun, the source of all earthly life. But they look to the north of their ancestors, mysterious source of celestial dawns. The Semitic and the Aryan currents are the two streams along which all ideas, mythologies, and religions, our arts, sciences, and philosophies have come to us. Each of these currents bear with it an opposite conception of life, the reconciliation and balance of which would be truth itself. Let's stop there. If you know, some of you know more than the minister does, you know the people who make up the Semitic race, right? Don't you? Some of you are well informed more than the minister is. That's why we have students and we have masters in the Cosmic Christ University to come together and we help each other out. But we know with the most of the Semitic people, the Semitic tribes, the Semitic race, if you will, what they make up, right? Okay. Africa, Mediterranean. And then you have the Aryan race, which is more of the Europe, around Asia as well, Caucasian, Europe, once again, type of vibes. But once again, you do your own research. The Semitic, Semitic, Aryan, Aryan. This book is saying that these two groups are the ones where all of our inspiration, arts, music, science, philosophies, it all came for these two races. This is written in black, chapter 2. We're in 2025 and there's nothing new under the sun. We're coming right back to the same consciousness with an option to go to higher heights now. We're going to read this again. The Semitics and the Aryans currents are the two streams along which all ideas, mythologies, and religions, our arts, sciences, and philosophies have come to us. Each of these currents bear with it an opposite conception of life, the reconciliation and balance of which would be truth itself. Now listen very closely. Like I said a few seconds ago, if you know which ones on this planet are more related to the Semitic and which ones are the Aryans, then what I'm about to read to you is going to make more sense. And I'm going to ask the question after this. Now, the Semitic current, let me make sure I got there we go. My brightness is up a little bit more. The Semitic currents contains the absolute and higher principle, the idea of unity and universality in the name of the one supreme principle, which in its application leads to the unification of the human family. That's what you usually get from the Semitic side. Now, the Aryan side, the Aryan current contains the idea of ascending evolution in all terrestrial and superterrestrial kingdoms, and in its application leads to an infinite diversity of development in the name of wealth, of nature, and of the multiple aspirations of the soul. Let's stop there on 18 minutes. Now, the minister want to ask you a question. I want to ask every race this, because every race is involved in this chapter, in this presentation. Since this is called written in black and white, and obviously we're on this presentation, we're focusing on the black race and the white race, let's break this down into two categories. And this is not really to divide anybody, we're teaching here. But when it comes to race, does these line up with the two races? It's saying that one is more spiritual. One race is more tapped into the universal principle, which is the one God. The other race is really all about evolution, more of conquerors. Not just the evolution in the material world, but also going beyond this world. We can look at history, family, and I'll say this with respect, but we're family here. Let's have this conversation. We can look at history, Christopher Columbus, the moon landing, any type of conquering that has been done, the colonization of this country, for Christ's sake, United States of America, we know what race, the European race, respectfully, we know that this has been landed on their side. We know that the Aryan race has a connection with the European Caucasian race. So I want to read this again, and I thank you for your patience. If you are looking at this video expecting any hate, any bias, it's not coming from me. I am a teacher. I'm a cosmic Christ being. I'm your brother in this new age of Aquarius, where our spiritual frequency are activating. The more and more we lined up with the one Christ, the one energy that is within us that leads us to the divine mother and father. I'm going to read this again, family. We just read not too long ago that a Semitic and the Aryan races influence everything that the way we, our science, our philosophies, our arts, all of this. Once again, we're going to learn about the Semitic tribe. And if you know about anything that comes from the Semitic side, hit the like button if you can agree with this. If you are Aryan or you are acquainted with the Aryan nation, leave a comment or hit the like button if you agree to what I'm about to say again. But this is class. We need to have conversation instead of just looking at this one race and saying, or looking at the other race and saying, We are all one. You may not agree, but we all come from the one source. Let's read this again, and I thank you for your patience, my beautiful family. The Semitic current contains the absolute and higher principle, the idea of unity and universality in the name of one supreme principle, which in its application leads to the unification of the human family as a whole. Yes, I am going to read that again. The Semitic current contains the absolute and higher principle, the idea of unity and universality in the name of one supreme principle, which in its application leads to the unification of the human family. Now to the Aryan side, now to our Aryan family. Now the Aryan current contains the idea of ascending evolution in all terrestrial and supra-terrestrial kingdoms, and in its application leads to an infinite diversity of development in the name of wealth, of nature, and of the multiple aspirations of the souls. Let's stop there again. I want you to think about this. There is not a good or a bad on either one. There are two different aspects of the whole. I just said earlier, we can end racism today if you want to, if you cool with that. We can kumbaya. We could come back together and share on each side the ancient science, the primitive knowledge that our ancestors have, because we don't have to look for books like that. It's already embedded in us. We are ancestors waking up to the. Oh, here we go again. But this time we have a second chance to do this right. We can evolve into a higher realm without having to pass away, without having to die. We can do that, family, if you want to, or if you still want to take a whiff of that racial smoke, then we can do that as well. Why? When we can, let me say this, I'm going to jump right into the presentation. For those who have been with me for a while on my videos, there was a point about around the Council of Sophia videos where I started noticing certain videos that I was doing was really altering my physical world. So I would talk about something, and then on news, it would be similar to the T like that. So I tested in one of my videos, and I started doing different videos, higher knowledge. And I blatantly said that I'm going to open a portal. Next thing I know, they're talking about an AI-3 or whatever it's called, spaceship that is now in our solar system. So you can imagine my intent on what portal I'm going to open for this presentation and this chapter. Because by the time I go to chapter 3, you're going to be like, holy and this is all already in your consciousness. We've just been focused on material stuff. We've been focused on the propaganda, focused on what the politics are feeding us. We are one. And if we come together as one, we can change everything about this world. Leave the third dimension, 4, 5, 6, 7, and now, as far as just guessing about UFOs, we were building with these beings who are our ancestors, but we'll leave that for later. Let's keep going on to the next. The Semitic genius, listen, you heard what I just said about the Semitics and Aryans, right? Right. Let's go back to the Semitics. The Semitic genius descends from God to man. The Aryan reascends from man to God. This is one of those small ones that we might have to sit back at nighttime and really think about. The Semitic genius descends from God to man. Gosh, listen, let's slow this down, please. What are you, white? Are you white? Are you black? Are you yellow? Are you red? We're talking about our Asian and Indian brothers. Obviously, respectfully, you can see by the chapter 1. To my white race, to my black race. You hate him for what? You can't stand the way he looked for what? Black race, you can't stand. Yeah, we understand history. But a lot of people who so-called run this world, they knew this truth. And if we came together like we are right now and realized that we're just two different aspects of one whole, then the work that we can do together, the progress. So racism for what? I'm going to read this again so we can understand our connection together a little bit more. Let me read this again. The Semitic. At this time, you, me, all of us should know which tribe, which race related more to the Semitic side. By this time, going on 30 minutes, we should know which side related to the Aryan side more. It said the Semitic genius descends from God to man. The Aryan reascends from man to God. The one is imaged as the justice-loving archangel who descends to earth, armed with the sword and the lightning bolt. The other as Prometheus, holding his hand the fire he has stolen from heaven, and encompassing Olympus with the far-reaching gaze. Excuse me, the sun's kind of a little bit here. Let me see if I can. All right. Now, I'm going to read that again right quick. Because on my research here, and I want to give a shout out to people like Dr. David Blair, my ancestors, Gerald Massey, Rudolph Steiner, Brother Bobby Hemmett, so many more. And as I do my research, fam, and I want to seriously slow down on what I'm about to say. It seems like, well, if you watch chapter 1, it says one of the first races was the red race, followed by the black and yellow, then the white race being the last race to be on this earth, created on this earth, or here on this earth. It seems like, as far as the white and the black race, like the black race, the melanated race, whatever you want to call it, were the gods. Were the ancient ones here. But when the Aryan race came to this planet, or when they were created, or when they were just, however you want to put it, word it, they realized that their ancestors, their parents, their predecessors were on a whole different vibe, whole different everything from them, and they just wanted to take the knowledge from them and just take their own and create something new. I'm not saying this is what happened, but through my research, this is what it sounds like. If you know about the Olympians and the Titans, I got a video on that as well. But let's bring it back together. I'm not trying to go off track too much. We're almost at 30 minutes. I want to give you guys at least a good 50. I want to at least read most of this because by the time we go in chapter 3, oh my gosh. So let's read this again. I thank you for your patience. Let me see if I can. All right, that might help a little bit. The Semitic genius descends from God to man. The Aryan ascends from man to God. The one is imaged as the justice-loving archangel who descends armed with a sword and the lightning bolt. The other as Prometheus, holding in his hand, the fire he has stolen from heaven and encompassing Olympus with his far-reaching gaze. Get me a drink of water. How y'all doing out there? I thank you for your patience. This is initiates, ADAP, neophyte type of information that you're receiving, some of you for the first time. Both the Semitic and the Aryan genius we bear in ourselves. That means all of this that we have right now. In turn, we think and act under, Both the Semitic and the Aryan genius we bear in ourselves, in turn, we think and act under the influence of the one or the other. In our intellectual life, however, they have become entangled, not fused into one. They contradict and come back each other in our inmost feelings and subtlest thoughts, as well as in our social life and institutions. Concealed beneath multiple forms which might be summed up under the generic name of spiritualism and naturalism, they dominate our struggles and our discussions, as both are invincible and irreconcilable. Who is to unite them? Who is to unite them? All this stuff about the Semitics and the Aryans back in the day, it never left this planet. So even with us, these conditions are still within us. Hate is all over the place. Whites can't stand blacks, and blacks can't stand whites. This color can't stand that color. All we're doing is reliving what our ancestors went through. It is time to stop repeating that. It is time to evolve to higher evolution, a higher understanding, a higher spiritual gnosis, which means knowledge. This is what this is saying. This is exactly what this is saying. And let me see here. Do I want to sit back? Let me see. I could just bring it right here. I want to make sure that I can read it without doing too many remixes. And this is a perfect spot. Perfect spot. And I thank you for your patience. Once again, as both the Aryan and the Semitic races are invincible and irreconcilable, who is to unite them? We're not together in harmony. We're entangled. All this like freaking wires in the back of your TV, all entangled, but to cause a crazy fire. This is what we're going through as a race, as a whole. All the same, the progress and salvation of mankind depend on the synthesis. Synthesis, I used to always get this word up. synthesis. The synthesis. Chopping it up, but you know what I'm saying. And a conciliation. It is for this reason that in this book, we should like to go back to the very source and birth of the two currents. Beyond the conflicts of history, wars of cults, and contradictions of sacred texts, we shall enter into the very consciousness of the founders and prophets who gave religion their initial impulse. These prophets received from above their profound intuition and inspiration, that living light which produces fruitful action. Yes, it was in them that the synthesis previously existed. In their successors, the divine ray grows pale. That means in us, this opportunity, this chance to go back to the essence and go beyond of our ancestors is growing pale. With all the hate, with all the division, all this is dividing us. But once we get back to a unity, every race, then the portals, the vortexes, you're going to see more of these so-called subterranean and extraterrestrial beings, because it's a frequency differences. It's all here already, but look where we're at as a people. You don't like this person don't like you. This country is going against this country. Like, think about this. If these other beings, these other worlds, if they're on a vibration of love and peace, why would you even entertain a lower vibration planet like this? Think about this, family. For the ones who know that there are more than this material world, I'm asking you to think about this. Just use your common sense. If there's other races that have already evolved, if there's ancestors, if there's the true great white brotherhood, which is the ascending masters, the avatars, who have done this way before we did, and have understood that it's about loving each other and about harmony and about the one source, which is the one creator, the divine mother and father. Then you evolve. Do you think they're going to open their doors to us and we can't stand each other? We look down on each other? This is a question I'm asking. It can be hypothetical. It can. Let's keep on going, man. I thank y'all for your patience. Just think about that, family. Think about this. What are we worrying about? Bills? Stress? Huh? Who don't like you? And God is our everything? Let's keep going. These prophets, once again, receive from above their profound intuition and inspiration, that living light which produces fruitful action. Yes, it was in them that the synthesis previously existed, this unity. In their successors, that's us, family, the divine ray grows pale and dark, but it reappears and shines afresh every time a prophet, hero, or seer at any period of history returns to the source of his life. I know I'm one of them. Once you realize that nothing moves without God, the first cause, this inner light opens up. Family, I am telling you the process right now. Once it opens up, you continue the work of just thinking, moving, living, speaking God first. Not my will, no, but God's will first. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and all righteousness will be added unto thee. It's a science to God. It's a law and principle to the Creator. My beautiful family, in this age of Aquarius, the age of the divine feminine energy. Yes. For the end can be perceived from the starting point. For the end can be perceived from the starting point alone. Don't worry about what's in the end. If you want to figure out what's in the end, you got to start from the beginning. And for the beginning, we know it's God. So how it's going to end? God. For the end can be perceived from the starting point alone. From the radiant sun is witnessed the course of the planets. Such is revelation in history, as continuous, graduated, and many-formed as in nature, as is nature. But identical in its origins, one like truth, unchangeable as God. Once again, such is revelation in history, as continuous, graduated, and many-formed as is nature, but identical in its origin, one like truth, unchangeable as God. As we trace, family, let's go talk about that Semitic and Aryan race back again. I thank you for your patience. Blood, sweat, and tears, I'm here for my family. I'm here for y'all. As we trace back the Semitic current, we come to Moses in Egypt. Did y'all know that Moses was a king in Egypt? I'm sorry, whoa. Did you guys know that Moses was a king in Ethiopia for like 40 years? Did you guys know that? The Moses in the Bible. He was like a king in Ethiopia for 40 years. Leave a comment. And his wife, one of his wife before he became the Moses that we know, her dad was really him with the sacred information about astrology, astronomy, And he learned a lot. Moses learned a lot from his wife's father. And if you look at the Ethiopian Bible, there was some point where his wife in Ethiopia was like, you know what, you're not even really one of us. So why are you even sharing this kingdom with me? Like, this runs deep. Oh, snap. Hold on. The minister is turning pages here, family. Oh, 81. Let me see here. The minister, up now. Oh. Bear with me for a minute. Okay. Let's go back. But yeah, Moses, once again, Moses was a king in Ethiopia for 40 years, family. I'm going to try to minimize this right quick. Let me see here. Let me see here. Moses was a king in Ethiopia for 40 years. All right. I think we're back in action. Let's go to the right page. And I thank y'all. Thank y'all so much for your patience. See where we were at right here. We weren't too far from it. There we go. We're right here. I think here we go. As we trace back the Semitic current, remember what we said the Semitic race was, or Semitic tribe, the Aryan tribe. As we trace back the Semitic current, we come to Moses in Egypt, whose temples, according to Manethon, Manethon. Google Manethon. Manethon was a Egyptian priest around the 3rd or 4th century. Like Flavius Josephus, they both have a lot of information that is not in the mainstream. I want to repeat myself. Manethon. Google him. He was an Egyptian priest about around the 3rd or 4th century. And just like Flavius Joseph, who gave us the Antiquity of the Jews, has more information than a lot of your Bible scholars on our ancient civilization and us as an ancient people. So make sure you write that name down. And I'm going to read this again. Thank you for your patience. Thank you for your patience just a few minutes ago as well. As we trace back the Semitic current, we come to Moses in Egypt, whose temples, according to Manethon traditions, traces back 30,000 years. Along the Aryan current, we come to India, where was developed the first great civilization resulting from the conquest of the white race. How many of y'all out there have heard of Vishnu? When we get to chapter 3, you're going to hear a story about Rama. And Rama is the one that supposedly conquered the black race. We're going to hear about that in chapter 3, about Rama. So we're about to get to Rama in just a few minutes or whatnot, but we're going to at least get to 50 minutes. And I really thank y'all for your patience just earlier a while ago, everything got just back to normal. So I want to thank you so much for your patience. But yeah, Vishnu, we got Krishna, Vishnu. But when it comes to the white race, when it comes to Zoroaster, when it comes to the Persian, there is the white race origin. Let's read this again. I thank you once again. I'm going to keep on saying I thank y'all for your patience. I know this is amazing information, and I thank you for your patience when you're rocking with me, whether it's a misconstrued word that I'm saying or something. I just thank you, seriously. As we trace back to the Semitic current, we come to Moses in Egypt, whose temples, according to Manethon traditions, traces back 30,000 years. Along the Aryan current now, we come to India, where was developed the first great civilization, resulting from the conquest of the white race. India and Egypt were two mighty mothers of religion, Once again, family, as we can still see all these thousands and millions of years later, Egypt, India, still have these buildings and these ancient temples that are undescribable, unexplainable. Let's keep on going. India and Egypt were two mighty mothers of religion. They possessed the secret of the great initiation. Into their sanctuaries we will enter. I told you guys that we're about to go. Man, we could do an hour if y'all want to. Y'all want to do an hour? If y'all got something to do, you can always pause it. We're going to do an hour. Y'all deserve an hour. Because now we're about to get to some ancient stuff that only the seers, only the adepts, only the initiates, only the neophytes were privileged to. This information was blocked for you for thousands of years. And here you go. They possess the secret of the great initiation. They possess the secret of the great initiation, family. Enter their sanctuaries, we will enter. Their traditions, however, bring us back to an earlier date, still at which both the Aryan and the Semitic genius appear united in pristine innocence and marvelous harmony. This is the primitive Aryan epoch. Thanks to the praiseworthy investigations of modern science to comparative philology, mythology, and ethnology, a glimpse may be obtained into this period. It is traced with patriarchal simplicity and a splendid purity of outline in the Vedic hymns, HYMNS, which, however, form only a reflection of it. Oh my God. Here we go, right back. A sober, let's see here. I think the keyboards are getting a little sweaty from all this hotness in here because we're blowing up. The presentation. But like I said, thank you for your patience, and we're going to get right back to it. We're almost done. A sober, viral age is this, resembling anything rather than a childlike golden age dreamed of by the poets. Mm-hmm. I told him that we don't stop. I thought I told him that we don't stop. Thought I told him that we don't stop. When it goes down in real time, family, we don't stop. Just gonna blow this up right quick. Move this over here. We almost there. Thank you for your patience. Come on down right quick. There we go. Let's bring that back one more time. Right back like we never left, family. Once again, thank you for your patience. A sober, viral age is this, resembling anything rather than a childlike golden age dreamed of by the poets. Grief and struggle are by no means absent from it, but men in those days possessed a confident strength and sagacity, and that's SAGACITY, they have never since regained. City was built different back then, pretty much. In India, thought is to become more profound, sentiment more refined. In Greece, passions and ideas are to be enveloped with the prestige of art and the magic garment of beauty. But there is no poetry which surpasses certain Vedic hymns in mortal elevation. In intellectual breadth, BREADTH, and height. In them is the feeling of the divine in nature, of the invisible all around, and of the great unity which penetrates the whole. How did such a civilization come to birth? How was so lofty an intellectuality developed in the midst of racial wars, and the struggle against nature. At this stage, the investigation and conjectures of contemporary sciences can proceed no further. Let's read that again. How did such a civilization come to birth? How was so lofty a intellectually developed in the midst of racial wars and the struggle against nature? At this stage, the investigation and conjectures of contemporary science can proceed no further. The religious traditions of nations, however esoterically interpreted, enabled us to divine that first concentration of the Aryan nucleus in Persia came about by a kind of selection effected in the very heart of the white race, under the guidance of a law-making conqueror who gave his people a religion and law in conformity with the genius of the white race. Listen, I told you blood, sweat, and tears. With all the sweat going outside the keyboards, with all the technical difficulties, we're going to get this presentation done. I don't mind stopping reading it back because this is very important information. These little glitches don't mean nothing to me. We're still here. We are still here. So I want to read this again. Thank you. So I want you to understand and listen as we close. In India, thought is to become more profound, sentiment more refined. In Greece, passion and ideas are to be enveloped with the prestige of art and the magic garment of beauty. But there is no poetry which surpasses certain Vedic hymns. In moral elevation, in the intellectual breadth and height, in them is the feeling of the divine in nature, of the invisible all around, and of the great unity which penetrates the whole. How did such a civilization come to birth? How was so lofty an intellectuality developed in the midst of racial wars and the struggle against nature? At this stage, the investigation and conjectures of contemporary science can proceed no further. That means that what happened in the midst of this racial tension between this white race and black race, there was something that is unexplainable, divine intervention that happened that sped everything up. Let's keep on going. Once again, the religious traditions of nations, however esoterically interpreted, enable us to divine that the first concentration of the Aryan nucleus in Persia came about by a kind of selection effected in the very heart of the white race, under the guidance of a law-making conqueror who gave his people a religion and law in conformity with the genius of the white race. Let's stop there at 53 minutes, because remember, it talks about in Persia or in India, the conquest of the white race, right? So then while in Persia, there's this entity, this being that teaches the white race, something that was already embedded in them to change their whole consciousness and to be up on one. This is what I'm hearing. And like I told you, blood, sweat, and tears, literally, I'm going to make this sure this presentation gets done. So when chapter 3 comes, it's going to make sense. And if I got to read it a couple times to make sure it's clear by the time we ending, that's what I'm going to do. I'm here for y'all. How did such a civilization come to birth? How was so lofty a intellectually developed in the midst of racial wars? Let's read that again. They are saying that you had the black race and the white race. In the midst of all this, something happened that just upgraded the white race or just gave them an up. How did such a civilization come to birth? How was so lofty intellectuality developed in the midst of racial wars and the struggle against nature? At this stage, the investigation and conjectures of contemporary science can proceed no further. You can read just like I can read, family. They're saying that We cannot, divine intervention came within the white race. I feel like it's around the time of Abraham by doing my research. Something upgraded. And when you hear about the Pleiadians and certain space beings, I did certain presentations that talk about this. The alien, it's a video I got talk about the cosmics and the white and the prejudice. Galactic racism is my video. Galactic racism. I'm gonna read this again. Something happened in history that gave the white race this up on everybody on the planet by way of Rama. We're going to learn about Rama, who says was the conqueror of the black race. I told you, if you want this book, holler at me. And I'm in here like at least 1 minute, an hour and 5 minutes, whatnot. You know, through the glitches and everything, y'all stay with me and you rock with me. For the ones who did, thank you. Read it again. I'm going to read it again. How did such a civilization come to birth? How was so lofty intellectuality developed in the midst of racial wars, family, and the struggles against nature? At this stage, it says, the investigations and conjectures of contemporary science can proceed no further. The religious traditions of nations, however, esoterically, that means hidden knowledge, interpreted, enabled us to divine that the first concentration of the Aryan nucleus, the center, in Persia, came about by a kind of selection. We talk about Yaqub in the white race, but here we're talking about Rama, or Vishnu, as also known. By a kind of selection effected in the very heart of the white race, under the guidance of a law-making conqueror, who gave his people a religion and law in conformity with the genius of the white race. Indeed, the sacred book of the Persians, the Zend Avesta, you should be writing this down, Zend, Z-E-N-D -A-V-E-S-T-A. The Zend Avesta speaks of the legislator of old by the name of Yima. Now, I learned that Yima was like the Asian Noah, I want to say. Yeah. The same story of Noah and the ark, but at least about 700 years before Noah. Yima. Y-I-M-A. So let's read this again. I'm about to wrap it up soon, but I thank you for your patience. Indeed, the sacred book of the Persians, the Zend Avesta, speaks of the legislator of old by the name of Yima, Y-I-M-A, and Zoroaster, Z-O-R-O-A-S-T-E-R. When founding a new religion refers to this predecessor as the first man to whom Ormuzd, O-R-M-U-Z-D. Now the minister is giving you Persian mythology now, family. We are now giving Persian mythology. When founding a new religion refers to this predecessor as the first man to whom Ormuzd, O-R-M-U-Z-D, the living God, spoke. Just as Jesus Christ refers to Moses, the Persian poet Firdusi, F-I-D-U-S-I, names this same legislator Djem, D-J-E-M, the conqueror of the blacks, the black race. And this is where we're about to end this for chapter 2. We've been through a lot in this presentation. I mean, obviously we've seen that the Matrix was trying to glitch everything up, but we got through it. But I'm about to stop here. You're going to learn about Rama, also known as Yima, also known as Djem, D-J-E-M. You can start doing your homework tonight, so get ready for chapter 3. He is named as the conqueror of the blacks, the black race, the black people. I'm going to read this again. Indeed, the sacred book of the Persians, the Zend Avesta, speaks of this legislator of old by the name of Yima, Y-I-M-A, and the Zoroaster, Z-O-R-O-S-T-E-R. You should be writing these names down After this video over, if you got time, you should be doing homework and studying and getting ready for chapter 3, which is going to blow your freaking mind more than this one did. And it says, when founding a new religion refers to this predecessor as the first man to whom Ormazd, the living God, spoke, just as Jesus Christ refers to Moses. The Persian poet Firdusi, Firdusi, names this literature Djem, Djem, the conqueror of the blacks, the black people, the black race, whatever, melanated people. We wonder what's going on in this world with racism and stuff. We are still carrying the same bad habits of our ancestors. And when will it stop? In the Hindu epic poem, the Ramayana, Ramayana, he appears under the name of Rama in the costume of an Indian king surrounded with all the splendor of an advanced civilization. He keeps, however, his two distinct characters as an initiate and reforming conqueror. I'm going to stop there. And listen, I have said this all throughout the presentation, but y'all witnessed yourself the little glitches. Whether I can blame it on the sweat or the Matrix trying to just stop this presentation. They couldn't stop it. They could not stop it. They tried. The whole thing was minimizing. The screens were minimizing. It wouldn't pop up. I'm trying to maximize this, but y'all stayed with me and you were patient, and I thank you. So let's talk about this right quick. It is saying in so many words that the white race had this like boost. It gave them this intellectual upgrade more than any other race that was on this planet. When I do research and I listen to my teacher, Rudolf Steiner, please research Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner said that when it came to the Asian people are more known for their breath. And what I mean is for their breathing, the prana, the life force. Like this is their natural. If we were talking about superpowers within the race, this is what I'm talking about. So look up Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf Steiner in his work said that when it comes to the Asian family powers would be attributed in power to them for their breath and their breathing abilities. Like that's their main thing. When it comes to the melanated race, the black race, the powers of ours is more desire, more cosmic. Like we're more in tune to the universal source. Obviously, that's what it was saying earlier with the Semitic race. And when it comes to the white race is more intellectual. I think it's something about either the back of the frontal lobe, or it's all about the brain and how the brain is centered. Rudolf Steiner breaks this down. Look up his work. But we're hearing in so many words that there was a advanced civilization boost within the white race that gave them this intellectual up, at least on the black race. So I'm going to leave this here. We're going to do chapter 3. We're going to talk more about Rama, the so-called conqueror of the black race. And just like the ancient buildings that you guys talk about, the Tartarian buildings, am I saying this right, guys? There is so much that has been hidden from us that now, because of the Christ consciousness that is within us, we're going to see portals open. Our mind, when we start doing presentations like this, and so many other ones, we're opening up portals in real times, guys. We don't need no technology or no mechanics. Our body, our mind, our soul is the anchor, or is the go button for us to evolve like freaking Transformers, man. Like, yeah. So thank you always for your patience. It's been an interesting presentation throughout everything, and I thank you for rocking with the minister and staying with me. Chapter 3 is on the way. Get ready for it. My gosh. Peace.